All right, let's talk about stories. What is it that really makes a story stick with you? Like, really get under your skin? I'll bet it's not the big explosions. It's not even the perfect happy ending. It's something way more human, right? It's that beautiful, messy, and honestly powerful journey of a hero who isn't perfect.
I mean, have you ever watched a movie where the hero is just too perfect? You know the type. They always say the right thing. They never even think about doing something wrong. And honestly, they're kind of boring. You find yourself looking at your phone because you know they're going to win. The question of how they'll win just doesn't feel very important.
Right? It's like, come on. And this quote from George D. Escobar just nails it. When a character's greatest flaw is too much compassion, you know there's a problem. They just don't feel like a real person anymore. And the story's missing that one thing that actually pulls us in, a real, authentic, human struggle.
So there's actually a term for this, the sanctified protagonist. It's basically a character who's been, I don't know, totally sanitized. All the interesting conflict has been scrubbed away before the story even starts. So let's dig into why this kind of character almost always falls flat.
Yeah, we've all seen them. They're polite, they're pious, they're just so predictable. They feel less like actual people and more like, a walking moral lesson. And that's the thing. They're basically walking, talking sermons. But stories aren't supposed to be lectures, right? They're supposed to be journeys. And any good journey involves movement, change, and let's be real, a few wrong turns.
Okay, so what's the fix here? It's not about just making every hero a bad guy. Not at all. It's about creating characters who are flawed, sure, but not faithless. The real engine of a compelling story, it's that tension, that pull between who a character is right now and who they're trying to become.
And this next quote, wow, it just gets right to the core of it. Your protagonist isn't your pastor. They're your convert in process. See, we don't need to be preached at. We want to see the struggle. We connect with that fight to be better. That's not some kind of storytelling flaw. That is the story.
I mean, look at the difference here. The sanctified hero, they're already perfect. They start the story at the top of the mountain. They're static, they don't change. But the flawed hero, they start down in the valley. They've got to fight their way up toward the light. And that struggle, that's what makes us care. That's what earns our attention. A perfect hero tells a story, but a flawed hero, they bleed one. And at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Nice isn't cinematic. That's it. It's the conflict, the doubt, the mistakes. That's what makes for good cinema. Being pleasant doesn't create any tension. What glues us to the screen is seeing a character get backed into a corner, feeling totally conflicted, and being forced to make an impossible choice.
Okay, so this is all great in theory, but how do we actually build a character like this? Well, the secret is understanding that every great hero is actually on two journeys at the same time. There's the journey for what they want, and then there's the journey for what they truly need.
So first up, you've got the outer journey. This is the plot. It's the stuff you can see on screen. It's what the character says they want, that tangible goal. Winning the big race, escaping the war zone, getting that promotion. This is what drives all the action. But running parallel to that, and honestly, way more important, is the inner journey. This is about what the character truly needs. It's their internal transformation. It's about them overcoming some deep lie they believe about themselves, or learning to forgive, or finding trust. This is the journey of the heart, and it's where all the real meaning is.
And here's the kicker, the really important part. The outer journey can totally fail. The hero can lose the race. They can miss out on the promotion. It can look like a total disaster from the outside. But if they complete that inner journey, if they learn what they needed to learn, the story still feels like a massive victory, a really profound one.
Now, I know this might sound a little abstract, maybe kind of complex, but the good news is there's a roadmap. There's a clear 6-stage blueprint that you can actually use to build this transformation right into your story. And look, don't let the word structure freak you out. It's not some kind of creative prison. It's the total opposite. Think of it like scaffolding. It's the thing that lets your story climb higher and really soar. It's the framework that makes your story strong.
So here are the steps. It's a 6-stage structure that can take a character from a broken starting point all the way to a genuine transformation. We're talking setup, new situation, progress, complications, final push, and aftermath. Let's break down what each of these stages really means.
This structure is actually mapping out a really deep emotional journey. It starts with the setup, right? Where we meet our character and they're defined by some kind of wound. They're lost. Then, bam, a new situation comes along and just shakes up their whole world. They start to make progress, but it's usually kind of a false victory because their real flaw is still lurking under the surface. The whole story pivots during the complications. This is the point of no return, where telling the truth or doing the right thing actually starts to cost them. That builds to the final push. Everything seems lost, and they have to make a huge sacrifice. It's like the death of their old self. And only after that do they get to the aftermath, where they're basically reborn, truly fundamentally changed.
And that moment, that sacrifice in the final push, that is everything. It is the single most important moment in the whole story. It's the crucible. It's where the internal change they've been going through is finally put to the test and proven by what they do in the real world.
There's a great term for this, the third act cross. It's that moment of truth. It's when the hero has to willingly give up what they wanted, that outer journey goal, to get what they truly needed on their inner journey. They have to let go of the prize to gain the peace or give up revenge to find forgiveness. It is the ultimate proof that they've really, truly changed. So think about it. A missionary whose every instinct, their outer journey, is screaming for them to escape. But their inner journey, their transformation, demands they stay and forgive the very people who captured them.
Or maybe a mother whose whole life is about protecting her child, controlling every outcome. But her true need, her inner victory, comes when she finally learns to surrender and trust.
Or that soldier, who is driven by revenge, but in the final moment chooses to save his enemy. And in that act of mercy, he saves himself. He rediscovers his own humanity. See, these moments are so much more powerful than any sermon because they don't just tell us someone changed, they show us. And ultimately, this is why all of this matters so much. We're not just crafting narratives here, we're shaping imaginations. Stories about flawed people on a journey to become better, they do more than just entertain us. They give us a picture, a language for what real change and redemption and grace can look like. They literally shape how we see the world and ourselves. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you sit down to watch a movie or pick up a book, ask yourself, what makes a true hero? Is it perfection or is it transformation? Are you watching a perfect statue or are you witnessing that messy, difficult, but absolutely beautiful journey of someone becoming who they were meant to be? Thanks for tuning in.